So here we are, 8 months into this new job, and I've learned a lot. I've learned that our state is in big, desperate, dire need, and we are in a lot of trouble. And I'm hoping that coming to events like this will encourage people to rise up and take back our state, because believe me, it's going downhill, and it is going downhill very fast. So I have some things for you. This is what we call a daily file. So, you can, this is, and it actually says there's 4 of 4. So but I only had 3 in my car, so somebody borrowed, or, I take them places and they look. So these are bills that come through on a daily basis on the floor. So this is on our desk, and believe me, and I've had them as thick as 7 thick. So you can kind of glance through those. That's a daily file. One of the things that I got in trouble for when I first got to Sacramento was my big sign that I have on my door, which is all the state boards and commissions. Okay? So you have the California Task Force for Culturally and Linguistically Challenged Dentists that we fund. That's very important. Or the state would actually go probably in a big mess if we didn't have that. There's all these state boards and commissions. I'm going to pass a list around. I'll start it up here. It's several pages long. You guys can kind of glance through it, but that's all these. So I put this on my door, and people are like, the speaker doesn't like your sign, Miss Grove. And I'm like, oh, okay. He says, so another person comes up and goes, didn't you know we told you the speaker doesn't like your sign? I'm like, yeah, okay. And, they don't know what to do with me too much, because I really don't respond the way they like me to. So then somebody else comes up and says, Miss Grove, you were told that the speaker doesn't like your sign. I go, oh, yes, I was. And they said, well, you need to take that sign down. And I said, sure, give it to me in writing. Or sure, I said, sure. And this a couple of days later, he comes back and he goes, you didn't take your sign down. And I go, but you didn't say when. And I said, I'd like it in writing. So they wouldn't give it to me in writing. So then they came up, and it's on my phone, and I should get it. They came up to me, so they tried to bully me into taking my sign down, and I wouldn't do it. Then they came up, and if you go around the Capitol now, there's these square signs with this beautiful assembly seal. So I get called into rules, and they're like, Miss Grove, look at this new sign. And if you take your sign down, we'll put one of these signs up for you, and like everybody else in the building. And I go, how much does that sign cost? And he goes, well, I don't know. And I go, well, find out and get back to me. Total cost was like $518, sign and installation. I go, that's okay, I don't want that sign. So that sign is still on my door. So there have been times where we've been in a heated debate on the floor, and I've been threatened. As a matter of fact, somebody walked up, poked me in the chest, and goes, Miss Grove, that sign is coming down. And of course, tonight. And I've been on my high horse at times in that building, and I said, I swear to God, I'll call the cops if my sign disappears. So we have these debates that go on the floor with ridiculous things. Then we have serious things. Things that happen like bad bills. I know, I think they passed out a list. I'm just going to go over a few of them. I'm going to skip Leno because I'm going to talk about that at the end, because I have petitions if you guys have not signed them. So you got CEDIO, AB 130 and 131, the DREAM Act, the Nightmare Act. Illegals, AB 130 is already passed. That's private funding. So there's a big donor, they donate to a college. That private funding is now available by law for illegals. Okay. There's a caveat in that bill, and also with 131, that caveat in that bill says if your child gets denied entry to a college, because there's only so many classes, and it goes to, say there's 4 positions available and they go to 4 illegals, and you're naturally born here, or you've come here the right way, and you apply to that position, and your child gets denied that because they give it to an illegal, you cannot sue the school system or the UC system. Because we asked that, we were debating them, and we said, what if they sue the system? What if they sue the UCs? It's going to open up lawsuits. So they made a caveat in the law that says you can't sue the UC system if your child is denied based on somebody else getting an illegal status entry into education. AB 131 is another bill that's coming. It's already passed both the House floor. Senate floor, it's on the governor's desk. That's for public taxpayer funding. For illegals to get public taxpayer funding for our tax dollars to pay for their education in the UC system. Even though they can't work and you're fined $10,000 an employer afterwards, it's just a mess. What I've learned to do is listen to the small talk. It's like throwing spaghetti against the wall, and then everybody kind of listens to what they say. Like when they were talking about this DREAM Act bill or the Nightmare Act bill, when they were talking about that, it's kind of like the students are just the beginning. Think of their parents, and you're like, oh my God. When they talk about the gay lesbian education bill, and they talk about that, and they go, just imagine, a world where teachers or people in authority could not identify someone's gender. I'm sorry, I thought they were already had their gender when they were born, but things like this that they throw out there to see what will stick. You got the worst ones are Tom Amiano from San Francisco and Cedillo from Los Angeles. Let's go Steinberg's Bill 104, kind of known as card check, which is a union bill to make it easier to unionize farm labor contractors. The system kind of goes like this. They walk out, they say, you want to be in the union, sign this card. They collect enough cards, they take it to the employer has a say-so, and then the employee or the union has a say-so, and they kind of get together, and then they have an election and secret ballot. And then that's how it goes. But this card check bill, well, once you sign the card, you're under a collective bargaining agreement. There is no secret ballot vote. They've undermined the secret ballot vote. That was vetoed by the governor just recently. However, a new bill came in at 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night or Friday night, and that new bill has governor's language and approval on it. So there's pretty much a guarantee that he will sign that bill. And it's going to make it easier for unions to organize labor in the fields. So I feel really bad that I got my back to you guys. I apologize. Okay, so if you guys have heard me speak before, you tell me that I've learned something really quick. The building in Sacramento is ran by the unions, the environmentalists, and the gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual groups. That's their agenda. At first, I thought being a business owner, I could go up and share with them, hey, when you pass something like this is what hurts business, it costs jobs. And it took me about 2 days to realize that, oh my God, I'm not getting through. I think they're stupid, And then they're not stupid. They're really smart. They just don't care about those things. They care about union issues, environmentalist issues, and gay, lesbian issues, and that's it. And you can tell by the legislation. And these are just a few. I mean, that's 1 day's worth of journal going around, and I only picked out, what do we got here, Rob? Like 30 bills, 40 bills, something like that. Let's go to the next page. Steinberg denies funding for public works projects on charter cities. So there's a lot of charter cities that went around and they had local elections, and the local election said that there will be no project labor agreements. Meaning you don't have to use union labor to build something. You can use your money cost effectively, the best bidder for the best quality price, that kind of stuff. So instead of losing each city, because the union was on the run because they had lost several cities, because several cities had agreed not to have project labor agreements, they have passed a bill now. They come to the state capitol with their little minions that they own that carry legislation for them, and they have passed a bill now that says any city that bans project labor agreements will not get any more state funding. That's how powerful they are. The Leno Bill 790, and then this is the video that Mr. President sent around. The 790 bill. This bill was primarily about utilities and rates and ratepayers and things like that. So we found that there was a piece of legislation at the very end of this bill that had some really obscure language, like no way does this restrict unrestricted, unreported funds going to construction management corporation funds. I thought, what is that language doing in that bill? Well, this doesn't make any sense. It's not even connected. So then we start researching construction labor management funds. And we've put the pieces together with the help of some friends of ours from an organization. So this is what you got, basically. You have unions, or you have a project builder, whether it's a power plant, a Costco, whatever it is. Somebody that has to go through CEQA, the California, help me out somebody, Environmental Quality Act, okay? So the union files all these complaints, and here's all the articles from the LA Times that say thousands of complaints are filed. This one particular project had 186 complaints. The day they signed the project labor agreement, all those complaints disappear. So you get a project labor agreement that says you'll build your facility under union contract, okay? So all those complaints disappear. So now you're getting through CEQA faster. So this is what happened that day on the floor when we were talking about 790, and I said permission to use a prop. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd ever hear the word denied. People have told me that's never happened in the building before. So as I'm reaching for my prop, he said denied. I said denied. I wasn't sure what was going on. What I was going to bring up is this project labor agreement for the Lodi. I picked one for up here in this area. So you have the Lodi Power Emergency Plant, okay? In this project labor agreement, he's required to pay prevailing wage, benefits, all this stuff for the unions, okay? And all these mysterious complaints automatically disappear. Also in this is a labor management trust corporation, okay? Item number 13, within 10 business days of the first hour covered work being performed by the project primary employer shall contribute the sum of $90,000 to the California Construction Labor Management Corporation. We have other project labor agreements that say $350,000, $350,000, $200,000. So you follow me so far? So the unions file these complaints under CEQA. They get them to sign this document. This document has a little clause in there that you'll contribute $90,000 to this organization. You track the tax return for this organization, and it's the California Labor Management Trust Fund, and it is the president or the person that's in charge of that is Bob Balganorth. You research who Bob Balganorth is, and he is the president of the California Builders Trades Council, one of the most powerful unions in the state capital, okay? So when you put all these pieces together, you have extortion by someone who's trying to build something that would rather go through CEQA in 175 days versus 5 years and multi-millions of dollars in lawsuits. They sign this agreement, and under this agreement, they have to write a fat check to this organization that's run by a union guy. So where does the money go? Okay, so then we start tracking where the money goes. The money goes to $1 million to stop Prop 90. Okay, so they are using taxpayer extorted funds made to contribute to an organization that uses it in campaign contributions that are not regulated or reported to the FPPC. Okay, so that was the whole deal on the floor. I was going to prove my point. I was denied. I was shut down. I was ruled out of order. I wasn't allowed to speak. So later on at the kiosk, the speaker, you all know John Perez, he comes up to me and he goes, Ms. Grove, I just wanted to let you know that, we shut your mic off because we think you're insinuating that people in this legislature are bought and paid for by the unions. I said, absolutely. Absolutely. And he had his hand out on my arm like this, and he goes, you're insinuating. I said, absolutely. And he takes his arm off, and he goes, so you are insinuating that people are bought and paid for? I said, not insinuating, flat out stating it. Bought and paid for. Bought and paid for.